What's up? It's David Benavides here. I just want to give a shout out to Chicken Tawk. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
We got a special guest joining us today. So he tapped
My
in
bad,
and
bro.
want to talk to us. Steve, are we getting this fight? Yes or no? Yes or no? Are we getting this fight? Yes
What up,
or
Steve?
hell yes? You got to unmute yourself. His phone might be messing up. Sometimes when people first come in, their phone be messing up.
Say yes or hell yes.
Yeah, that's my only two.
Oh, sorry about that. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Look, I'm still optimistic about this thing. Like I know what's been said, but to me, it goes back to like one of the fundamental lessons from journalism school. And that is, when you're talking to a source, you have to ask yourself, what is the agenda? Why is this source willing to talk to me and say what they're willing to say? And so when you read Oscar's comments, the question is, okay, why is he characterizing things in a certain way? He perceives that he's going to put this out and put pressure on another side. The reality is, and I've been real consistent. I'd love to give you all the gory details, but I think I've been pretty consistent throughout this that I don't think that, 99.9% of the cases, it does not help the process to air the negotiations publicly. So I'm going to stick to that, and I'll try to give you as much as I can without sort of breaking that policy.
Okay. Look, which one are you more optimistic about? Ryan versus Tank happening, or Spence versus Earl? I mean, Spence versus Bud.
Look, I would say Tank versus Ryan, not because I'm pessimistic about the other one, but the reality is I don't know. No one knows what Golden Boy's open points are. We sent a revised draft to them last week, and we haven't heard anything. So this is actually, when I read on ESPN.com that there's only one issue left, that's the first time I've heard that, because we're trying to get all the comments. So great. If that one issue there's one issue left, then there's one issue left. Now, I have some disagreement the way he's characterized the way this has come up, and the custom and practice in the industry, and whether in fact that this was discussed before or not. But at the end of the day, if this is the last issue, this is the only issue, it's not insurmountable.
Thank you. When you say it's not insurmountable, you mean that could the rematch clause be scrapped altogether and just go ahead?
I mean, there's a lot of different options. There's a lot. And, I don't want to get into specifics and, go, but and give up, leverage and sort of tip our hand.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if it's down to one issue, that's phenomenal news. Now, whether that's a big issue or a little issue, if we're only talking about one issue, that's great. But, one thing that Oscar didn't say, we haven't gotten any comments from DAZN at all in weeks. So if DAZN is absolutely fine, now when he says there's one issue, that means DAZN has no comments, Golden Boy has no comments. That is phenomenal news. That's the best news I've heard all day. I don't care what that last point is. We literally have one point to discuss. That is great news.
There we go.
So I'm not being facetious. Like I'm literally, it's like, okay, great. I'm going to take him at his word. I haven't seen anything in writing, and believe me, trust that if we get something back in writing and there's 15 open comments, well, then I'm going to have a lot to say. But I'm going to take him at his word. There is one open issue. We're at the 1 yard line. There's one open issue. That's it. So I'm not going to have to talk about anything else in the universe on this fight except that one issue. That's great news.
Okay. So when y'all announcing the rest of that schedule? we gotta start planning some trips.
Yeah, I know, right? Because flight credits I'm trying to get rid of.
I know there's airline flights and hotel rooms and all that. I actually think at this point, we really want everything to be included in that. So I think it'll be right after Super Bowl. It doesn't make any sense to announce it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week. It's just not going to make any noise.
Yeah.
It'll go over like a DAZN schedule, like a lead balloon. So why do that? Let's do that when there's a little bit of airspace, not when we're on the eve of the Super Bowl.
Man. Yeah, because this could have been this past weekend would have been Spence Crawford, right?
Yeah, that was one of the dates we were talking about. Yes.
Yeah. Now, okay,
absolutely.
You remember when we talked to you in Texas, we talked to you in Texas, you told us at that point, this was before Spence had even beat Ugas. This was at the fight before they even started fighting. That we're looking for November because we don't want to compete with baseball in October. Mm-hmm. We don't. You were naming a lot of stuff that y'all didn't want to compete with. So how do we get from November to February?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a fair question. So what really happens is two things. One is, our judgment on the business side of when is too short a runway to get things done. And look, everyone used to throw around, you need 3 months, you need 12 weeks. We proved that way back in the Mayweather days. Like in today, with a lot of the digital marketing, you don't need 12 weeks. No one's buying a fight 12 weeks out. If you want to do a big press tour, you want to do that before people get in camp. That's fine. But once you get shorter than 8 weeks, you're really running up against it. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is venues. And when you're talking about the end of the year, and this became an issue in Vegas, is they will only, when you're holding a venue and they have 3 other people, and by the way, 3 other people who have guaranteed events like concerts, not an iffy event that's probably going to happen, but you got 3 people, calling up the venue every day saying, I want November 16th or whatever it is. And we're holding it for a deal that's probably going to get done. At some point, they're going to come to us, hey, you got 24 hours or I'm giving it away to the weekend, whatever it is. And that started happening. So we pushed it back to December. And then we got a few weeks later and it still wasn't done. And that date started to get threatened. So then we started looking, okay, now we get to January. We have a January 7th pay-per-view. We're not going to do a pay-per-view against the NFL on the 27th or the 21st or the 28th. And then all of a sudden it became February.
But like I said, this was in April. So how does it go from April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 7 months away to not being able to make the fight in 7 months? Like just the long drawn out process of the whole thing.
It was, and I'm not gonna
because I have a lot of,
mm-hmm.
People ask me things, I just blow it off, whatever. Try to be level headed about it. Actually, I've really stopped trying to talk about this fight altogether because I'm so pissed off. But since we got you here, we're gonna talk about it because I know there's a lot of unanswered questions that a lot of people have. A lot of people just going off of certain things they hear. But like, okay, in April, so we already knew in April that y'all were looking to make the fight in April. So like, how does this process get drawn out so far, so long? Was it like, was it the back and forth with, okay, like let's say you're able to take care of this one situation you have with the rematch clause. Okay, so you've basically gone from January or December until December, January, February, March, April. That's 4 months, and the fight is already here. How do we go from April to not happening in November? Then I understand in December to February, but how do we go from what was the process? Yeah. What was taking so long to get the fight made?
Yeah, there were early stages. I think that was our goal on our side of things. I don't know that Bud was engaging conversations that early. And when I say I don't know, is because there are different ways negotiations happen. Sometimes the network and the promoter are involved. Sometimes the network is the middleman between the two sides. Sometimes, the promoter just makes the fighter deal and then comes to us as the network. This situation was the latter. So I'm sort of in the background advising of what's going on, and watching the drafts go back and forth, and, to some extent involved, but at a distance. So I couldn't tell you on a day-to-day basis who was dragging their feet other than by the flow of paperwork and where the conversations were. And look, I'm not going to point fingers. It's not going to help the process now.
Okay.
But I think there were various points at which, one side or the other was pretty slow in getting back. And there were various points where one side or the other was very dug in and very stubborn on points, and we went long periods of time without any progress whatsoever.
Okay, when you say points, is one of those points guaranteed? Now, I heard you tell the man with the best hair in boxing, Marcos Villarregas.
It is pretty good.
That
Yeah.
You said this guarantee thing is something new for fighters. Well,
it's silly. Like I think some people misinterpret.
Yeah, like
I'm not saying.
Like, he's for this pay-per-view he's getting 1.5 million. Vegas used to report he's getting 1.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
What if that's not a guarantee? What is that called?
Well, look, I don't consider a guarantee if it's such a small number that it's already paid for before we even have the
more
event.
of an advance.
Right, exactly. That's a critical difference. And what I was really saying is, if we go back several years, there really this concept, whether you got what you got from pay-per-view, you ate what you killed. There weren't a lot of guarantees going around. Like there was some like low-level guarantee or mid-level guarantee, but it wasn't like, you had promoters taking big risks, with guarantees. So, the concept of like, oh, there's never been big fights without guarantees. No, there've been plenty of them. And, and here's why, and it's an entirely rational decision not to take a guarantee in certain circumstances, because what's going to happen, if I am giving a guarantee or the promoter is giving a guarantee, we went through this, when I was advising Oscar with Top Rank, if the promoter is giving a guarantee or network's giving a guarantee, they're going to insist on different deal terms. In other words, if I'm paying someone a guarantee on a pay-per-view, my piece of the pie is going to be a lot bigger because I'm at risk. But if someone's coming to me and not asking for a guarantee, well, I'm not really in a good position to say, hey, I need a big piece of the pie, because I'm not the one taking risk. So when you have an entrepreneurial fighter, like Floyd, for example, Floyd always bet on himself. There were fights that Floyd said, I know contractually there's some, guarantees that are there. He's like, I don't need a guarantee. Let's alter the deal and I'll bet on myself. And I take a smaller chunk of the pie because I'm not guaranteeing nothing. I have no money at risk.
So when we see like Floyd versus, let's say, for instance, Mike Dana, Floyd guaranteed $36 million. What was that? Just an advance towards his pay-per-view revenue?
No, like I don't remember that one in particular. Like on some fights, there were guarantees, but on other fights, yes, we gave him an advance, and there was an advance. Like, look, he would get some money on the Monday or Tuesday, or any fighter would get money on Monday, Tuesday after, which was an advance, but it wasn't like a big guarantee because he's taking the risk himself.
No, I was talking about like the Vegas.
So,
Vegas used to report commission.
Oh, but see, yeah, that's the problem with the commission is you have to put a number down. Now, sometimes that number approaches reality. Sometimes it doesn't connect with reality. I've seen fighters, and I'm not talking about on my events. I've seen fighters who are getting 10 million put down 2 million, because of sanctioning fees and all kinds of other stuff. But in most of the case, it's a reasonable estimate of what they thought they would get for some fighters, or what the minimum they thought they would get, or where they likely want it to end up.
Okay, but this is
So,
exclusively
but
for
yeah,
pay-per-views, all right? This isn't for regular fight.
yes,
So okay. So this
correct.
is making more sense.
But no. But the same thing goes for regular fights. Like, not every fighter is putting exactly what they're getting on
Oh
those
yeah,
commission
I agree with
forms.
that. But I'm talking about as far as pay-per-views. So if I see like a
Right.
guy on a pay-per-view and it says he's getting $5 million, he's filed with the commission. He's getting $5 million for this fight, even though we know it's going to be pay-per-view back in. But what you're saying is that
Yeah.
he's not necessarily getting that night.
He may not be getting that night, or like he may be getting it that night and a bunch more later on when pay-per-views come in. So some fighters will estimate is like, I think I'm going to end up with 5, and that's where it is. Some fighters will say, you know what? Hey, I don't, at the very minimum, I'm making at least 5. So that's worst case scenario. That's what I'm going to disclose, because who knows? Maybe, maybe maybe the U.S. invades China the morning of the fight, and nobody's watching the pay-per-view because they're all in front of their TV watching us go to war.
9/11 when Hopkins and
exactly.
Trinidad were supposed to fight that
Yeah.
weekend.
So there's different theories, but yeah, on a pay-per-view, like it's all over the map. It's not really a good estimate of what the fighter is realistically getting based on what's on paper, because he could tell the commission, look, all I know that I'm guaranteed is some of the gate and minimal pay-per-views, because I don't know what the pay-per-view is going to get. And it's tough to argue with that. Like, okay, there may be more down the line, but you got to disclose what you're going to get.
Yeah, you don't know the pay-per-view until all the numbers come in. And
right.
I remember I heard Nicole Duva from Main Event say they still get pay-per-view checks from years ago. Because it's
weird. It's weird. It's real weird. There's 1,000, 100, sometimes $30 coming in, a year, 2 years afterwards.
Yeah. Oh man, so.
All right. Well, I don't want to take over.
No, it's cool. I appreciate
I just
you
wanted
stopping
to.
in for a minute, but when y'all release that schedule,
absolutely.
we got to do a longer form when you release that schedule.
Oh no! You'll get the schedule one. I just wanted to give y'all a little bit. I didn't want everybody going to bed mad tonight.
So to recap,
in cursing.
You are optimistic. The fight still happens.
Yep.
This is a small thing that can be worked out.
I wouldn't say it's a small thing. It is meaningful, but in the grand scheme of things, the fact that it's only one issue, that's what I'm optimistic about. And there's plenty of ways that you can work it out. Like, for example, on the initial fight, look, it's not like we're the only network on the first fight anyway. Like, we sort of split the baby. They get some rights and we get some rights.
Okay.
So it's not. There's a lot of creative ways to solve it, and that's why I'm optimistic. What I'm happiest to hear is that there's only one issue left. So I hope that when we get that draft contract back with their comments, it's literally only one issue.
Well, I hope so too, because we gotta have this fight.
Yeah.
There's no in the U.S. there are no events in the U.S. coming up this year. There are some fights, but there are no big events, and this is a big event. We gotta have this one.
Yeah, and hold on. I'd say the week after Super Bowl, we're looking at our schedule announcement. I think you guys will be pretty happy with it.
Okay. All right. So should I start planning the trip to Dallas in a couple months?
Yeah, unless there's a surprise.
I'm gonna be there for Virgil and Stanionis. Should I stay another couple weeks?
I would say probably so, but there's always the opportunity of a last-minute change of plans.
Oh yeah, one more thing. When I interviewed Coach Cal a couple weeks ago, we played this game.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear that interview?
I don't think I heard all of it.
You don't subscribe to Chicken Talk on YouTube?
Of course I did. I must have gotten distracted with something.
You had to come on and do the betting show with me one weekend. It'll be all 9. All 9 PBC fights. But so far, the Bella is 2-0, Cliff Roll is 2-0, and we're gonna see who's gonna be 2-0 this weekend. But we played a game called Higher or Lower, and the number is 250,000.
For which one?
For Tank and Hector.
for Tank and Hector. And what did he say ahead of time?
He wouldn't answer. He wouldn't answer.
He wouldn't answer. Yeah. He did. But no, it was a little bit under that. It was a little bit under that.
There y'all go. Exclusive.
Yep.
So if anybody is using this information, I don't care. Just say you heard it on Chicken Talk on YouTube.
Yep.
Well, a little bit under will mean like 100K for a lot of people.
Did you hear the interview with Tank?
No.
Did you hear when he said he's going to whoop VV ass? Now do you understand why he's going to whoop VV ass?
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
Hey, I want Tank to succeed. I have Tank on my pound for pound list after that performance. I want him to succeed.
No, it's not. Like I said, I said what I said on social media. There's this stupid number of 61 that was going around. That's basically the cable number by itself. So the total number is, and if you know anything, cable is a fraction, not even close to 50%. So you can do the math, and we're not at 200, but this would be his second biggest behind Rolly, which was his biggest.
Oh, okay. That's surprising. Well, okay. Look, this is. I also got another one going. 750,000 is the over/under for Tank versus Garcia. Ryan Garcia.
Oh, that's an over. That's an over. Yeah, that's an over.
Way over. But a lot of people are saying under. What are y'all projecting that at? What do you think?
Look, here's the only thing that makes me nervous. Canelo Plant, was between 775 and 800. Legitimately, when I'm telling you real numbers, that's what it was. So, so look, could this, be bigger than that?
Yes, it will be. It will be.
I think it's possible, but it's going to take, Canelo is the biggest pay-per-view star in the sport.
Let me tell you something.
But this is a phenomenal matchup.
Tank. Like when I did that interview, I did like 200,000 times the views that I actually have subscribers. For some reason, he connects with a lot of people. And this Ryan is built for doing a promo of the pay-per-view. I'm telling you, when Ryan is like built for promoting himself. He's great at promoting himself. So he's going to promote the hell out of this fight. This is going to be I'm telling you, I got it at 1.2. That's my personal thoughts. 1.2 million pay-per-views. And I don't know. But I know it's over 750.
I'll take it. I'll take 1.2. I'll settle for that. I'll be happy with that.
My bad.
Yeah.
All
right. Let me
for everybody else to take up this whole interview time, but I had some things to get off my chest.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And I will be ready to jump off a building. I'll be called.
That's
2017.
That's why I want to get on. I don't want to take over y'all's space. I know you got a bunch of other stuff to talk about. I just wanted to make sure no one was going to sleep angry tonight.
We'll talk to you in about 2 weeks.
All right. Yeah. All right, y'all.
I'm glad you took all the space.
All right, man.
Hey, I wanted to ask Stephen what he was thinking whenever Warlow was climbing over him in D.C.
I'm glad you asked that. Because the reality is I don't think he was as much of a peacemaker as everybody thinks he was. I know you've seen the video. Stack was not happy with him. I wasn't happy with him. He comes in, stepping on Stack's wife, stepping on my wife, coming in there, going into a situation that was already, they were going back and forth, but him barging into the situation did more to escalate it than it did anything else. Because when you're in that situation and you see out of the corner of your eye somebody coming in at that kind of speed, climbing over people, you don't conclude that guy's a peacemaker.
Yeah.
So I know that's how he portrayed it. That's not how it came off. You wouldn't see him, Stack yelling at him. You wouldn't see, me responding the way I responded if he was coming in trying to chill everybody out. That might have been his intention, but he went about it all the wrong way.
All right.
Thank you for answering that, Stephen.
All right. You got it. All right, Chuck.
Yep.